I have had seasons when I let my eyes drift and my strength thinned. Prayer felt dull, work lost its edge, and peace at home grew fragile. Filters helped, but walls are more than software. I learned to order my evenings, leave rooms on purpose, and aim attention like a man aims a tool. I'll share the structures that rebuilt focus and guarded my house from the inside out. A humble admission builds trust and relatability.
There is a hard truth that most of us would rather not say out loud. In the most private hours of our lives, many of us have handed our strength to a screen. We tell ourselves we're disciplined in the gym, productive at work, respectful in public. But when the house quiets down and the world goes dim, a small rectangle can pull us into a current that leaves us emptier than before. The paradox of our age is this: we are applauded for being always connected, always informed, always entertained, while the most important part of our character, the part that should be guarded and grown in silence, is being thinned out by constant exposure. Guarding your eyes is not just about resisting images. It's about guarding your house, your mind, your body, your future family, your legacy. There is no neutral ground here. If you do not actively protect your attention, someone else will program it. If you do not guide your desire, someone else will harvest it. And the uncomfortable truth is that many good men with values and faith and aspiration, are losing ground silently.
Guarding your eyes is not just about resisting images. It's about guarding your house, your mind, your body, your future family, your legacy. There is no neutral ground here. If you do not actively protect your attention, someone else will program it. If you do not guide your desire, someone else will harvest it. And the uncomfortable truth is that many good men with values and faith and aspiration, are losing ground silently.
I know this not just in theory, but from a season I am not proud of. It was years ago, and I was traveling often. Long drives, quiet hotel rooms, late night meals in unfamiliar cities. During the day, I was responsible, composed, met deadlines, and dependable. After dark, alone, I would drift. At first, it was harmless seeming. A social feed, a suggestive clip, a curiosity that felt costless. The next night, the curiosity returned a little quicker. Then came rationalizations. I've worked hard. I'm alone. No one sees. It felt like a small compromise, and then it became a pattern. What I remember most is not the images. It's the morning after, the heaviness, the dulled edges of my thought, the way my prayers felt foggier. I noticed a shorter fuse with people I cared about. I noticed my ambition getting hazy, not ruined, just slightly misaligned, like a compass with a magnet too close to it. The dangerous part wasn't a dramatic collapse. It was the steady erosion of clarity. That erosion made me less of a man than I claimed to be. One night, after another of those quiet declines, I sat on the corner of a bed in a hotel room and felt the weight of it for what it was. Not just a private habit, but a breach in the walls of my house. I texted a friend. I told him plainly. I placed my phone face down and walked. I walked through the city without headphones, without distraction, letting the cool air and the empty streets remind me what silence feels like when it isn't filled with noise. The next day, I made changes that felt almost childish. Restriction apps, flipping my screen to grayscale, no devices in the bedroom, accountability check-ins. None of those moves was heroic, but they were honest. I wasn't winning on willpower alone, and I needed to build a house that helped me stand.
And something else happened. After a few weeks, The mornings began to feel different. My prayers had texture again. My work felt cleaner. When I looked people in the eye, I felt present rather than divided. Modern culture is not neutral toward your discipline. It's not a level playing field. Your desires are profitable to others. The architecture of our attention is engineered, iterated, and refined to keep us watching. Algorithms learn what pulls your eyes a fraction longer, and they feed it to you with surgical precision. Even if you avoid explicit content,
The boundary between art, advertising, and arousal became blurry. What used to require effort to find now finds you without asking. For younger men, this environment is not an interruption, it is the air they breathe. We've been told that endless exposure is a kind of freedom. But freedom is not the absence of limits, it is the presence of the right ones. Freedom that erodes your attention, fragments your will, and cheapens your capacity for commitment is not freedom. It is a subtle dependence that looks like liberty on the surface.
there is also a language of permission. We are told that desire must be constantly expressed to be healthy. Yet any serious discipline teaches the opposite, that desire grows sharper when it is trained, that energy matures when it is channeled, that appetite serves best when it is governed. The culture of instant novelty is not raising patient men. It is raising men who are overstimulated and undersatisfied. Men who equate excitement with meaning and wonder why depth feels foreign. If you want a different outcome, you must live differently on purpose. That begins with a framework that respects reality. Here is a framework you can implement. It isn't glamorous, it is practical and works when you apply it honestly.
First, define your role. Write it down. You are the gatekeeper of your eyes and the head of your house. That means you choose what enters your mind and what patterns are tolerated under your roof. Clarity matters. Post it where you see it. A man who can articulate his duties is more likely to honor them. Second, redesign the environment so that strength is normal and compromise is inconvenient. On your devices, remove or relocate the apps that trigger idle scrolling. Turn your phone to grayscale during vulnerable hours. Set content filters and timers. Use accountability software if you need it, not as a badge of shame, but as a power tool, an external guardrail until the internal muscles strengthen. Keep devices out of the bedroom. Never scroll behind a closed door. When you sit at a computer, keep the screen visible from a doorway. It is easier to resist when you remove secrecy and reduce opportunity.
Third, establish the rule of windows, where and when screens are allowed. Set 2 or 3 places in your home where you use devices and only during certain hours. For example, at the kitchen table from 7 to 9 p.m. and at the desk during work hours. Not on the couch late at night. Private rooms become tech-free by default. That single adjustment shuts many side doors that temptation uses. Fourth, build friction and automation. If you find yourself wandering online late, put your charger in a room that's not the bedroom so that your device sleeps before you do. Create a shutdown ritual. 15 minutes before bed, power down and place the phone face down in its place. Set your night to begin without a glowing screen. Automate your morning too. Alarm across the room, a glass of water waiting, a printed reading on the nightstand. Reduce the chances of waking to temptation by replacing it with a pre-decided path. Fifth, train your attention as if it were a muscle, because it is. Spend at least 20 minutes daily in undistracted practice. Read a physical book, memorize a passage of wisdom, take a slow, devices off walk, or practice breath and prayer. Thoughtful. You are not emptying your mind. You are teaching it to hold a steady line. Sixth, Replace, don't just remove. Desire does not vanish, it migrates. Channel that drive into building. Lift weights with progressive goals. Learn a craft that uses your hands. Volunteer somewhere you are needed. Begin a modest business, even if it's just learning a skill and selling your time on weekends. The energy you once spent in secret can build something real in the open.
7th, schedule solitude rightly. Many lapses occur when we are exhausted and unstructured. Guard your sleep. When you are tired and alone late at night, you are not making values-based decisions. You are making fatigue-based ones. Keep a simple sleep plan, consistent bedtime, caffeine cutoff, screens out of the night routine. Choose a weekly Sabbath from media, 8 waking hours without feeds. You'll notice the sharpness that returns.
8th, create a recovery protocol for failure. You are human. If you slip, respond with responsibility, not despair. Within 24 hours, write down what happened. Time, place, emotion, trigger. Identify the small decision that started the slope, then adjust a boundary. If it happened in bed with your phone, the phone sleeps in the kitchen. If it happened after social scrolling, that app goes off your phone for a week. Pair that with a human check-in. 9th, lead at home. If you are married or plan to be, know that your private habits shape the culture your family breathes. Set household standards. Devices charge outside bedrooms. Meals are screen-free. And if children are in the picture, age-appropriate filters. Live at the router, not just on devices. More importantly, model what you expect. Children copy what you do, not what you say. A house where the father's eyes are guarded become a house where trust can grow. 10th, honor beauty instead of consuming it. When your eye learns to see people as persons rather than products, dignity returns. Lust narrows a person to a part. Love widens you to a whole. 11th, anchor your desire in a mission. Idle desire roams, purpose desire climbs. Write down what you are building over the next 3 years, professionally, physically, relationally, spiritually. Each time you choose the easier pleasure, something on that list is quietly discounted. Each time you choose the harder discipline, that list gains weight. Track the wins, they compound. 12th, end your days with a brief exam. 3 questions, 5 minutes. Where did I spend my attention today? What moment made me most proud? What moment needs repair? Write a sentence for each, say a short prayer, and close the book. The point is not perfection, it is awareness, and consistent awareness changes trajectories.
Design your house for strength, public screens, private rooms, tech-free. Build friction and daily rituals. Train attention with focused practice. Replace temptation with building. Strength, craft, service, mission.
For men of faith, this work is not just practical, it is spiritual. There is a line in Job that says, I have made a covenant with my eyes. It is more than a resolution. It is a promise, a chosen boundary that honors God, honors others, and honors yourself. These are not casual. They are gateways to your heart and your mind. And as another teaching reminds us, the eye is the lamp of the body. What you allow into your sight shapes what lives in your soul. Faith does not replace discipline, it animates it. When you pray, you aren't asking for a life without struggle. You are asking for a heart strong enough to struggle well. When you fast from food, from media, from noise, you aren't proving how strong you are. You are training your desire to obey a higher aim. Grace is not permission to neglect your gates. It is the power to build and keep them. If you have stumbled, bring it into the light. Confession is not humiliation. It is an alignment with truth. Pray plainly, I am not the man I want to be. In the quiet, you may wonder, what is the cost of doing nothing? It will rarely be an immediate catastrophe. Instead, it will be a slow decline in clarity, tenderness, and strength. It will look like a little less patience with your future wife, a little less presence with your future children, and a little less courage to attempt hard things. The world will not scold you for it. In fact, it will sell you more of the same. But years pass, and you realize that you built a house with strong walls on 3 sides and left the 4th open to the weather. The alternative is not complicated. It is sober and it is steady. You decide that your eyes are not for sale. You decide that your attention is a resource for building, not a commodity for others to harvest. You decide that your house will be a place where people are safe, where values are visible, and where screens serve rather than rule. You decide that your strength will be quiet and noticeable to the people who need it. There is a moment each day, usually late evening, where a choice is made. You can drift toward numbing and novelty, or you can step away, wash your face, turn off the light, and choose sleep. That small, uneventful choice is one of the most masculine acts of leadership you can make. It says, I govern myself. It says, I am building something worth protecting. It says, my future is weightier than my impulse.
Faith strengthens discipline. Covenant with your eyes. Guard your heart. Small night choices shape your legacy more than loud declarations. Decide your attention is for building, not for sale.
Adjust one boundary for the next week. You don't need more content, you need a structure you honor. And when you fail, you repeat the structure, not the story of shame. You don't need more content, you need a structure you honor. And when you fail, you repeat the structure, not the story of shame. The long-term view matters. A man's legacy is not built on a single victory or a single failure. It is the sum of ordinary days done with integrity. Your sons, if you have them, will not remember what brand of phone you carried. They will remember whether their father's eyes were kind and steady. If you marry, your wife will not ask how many likes you had. She will notice whether your attention belonged to her when she spoke. Your employees or colleagues will notice whether you are present, whether you lead with calm strength, and whether your mind is not scattered. These are the fruit of guarded eyes. Some will argue that setting firm boundaries is repressive, but every master of a craft is a student of limits. The pianist practices scales. The athlete lives by training schedules. The builder respects load-bearing walls. The limits we choose become the tools that free us to do real work. Limits we ignore become the chains we pretend not to feel. I want to say this clearly. This is not about shame, and it is not about pretending you are above temptation. It is about honor. It is about aligning your daily life with the man you claim to be. It is about creating a house where truth and trust can grow. If you are deeply entangled, you may need help beyond a YouTube video. Seek it. And if you have been walking clean for a while, guard your heart against pride. The man who stands today must remember that he stands by grace and disciplined choice, not by superiority. Encourage the men around you with patience. Lead by example. As you finish this video, consider a quiet alignment. Sit in a chair with your feet on the floor, no music, no scrolling. Take 5 slow breaths. Say aloud, I am the gatekeeper of my eyes and the head of my house. Then choose one boundary to build today, not 10, 1. Place the charger outside the bedroom, delete one app, text one friend, write the sentence, then get up and do it. No one will applaud. There will be no medal. But months from now, you will look back and realize that those small, discrete acts of governance compounded into strength. You will feel it when you pray, you will feel it when you work, you will feel it when you look at the woman you love in the eye and know you are present. You will feel it when a young man asks how to build discipline. And you answer not from theory, but from practice.
Start simple. One boundary today. One honest ally. One daily practice. Limits we choose become tools. Limits we ignore become chains. Legacy grows from ordinary days done with integrity.
If you want a structured path to begin, we built something for you. It's called the 30-Day Discipline Rebuild. It's in the description below. It will guide you through the steps we discussed: environment, attention, replacement, recovery, and leadership at home, with daily prompts and short practices. Use it as a scaffold while your strength returns. It is not a magic fix. It is a plan to help you show up every day with intention. In the end, guarding your eyes is a form of love. Love for God if you are a believer. Love for the people entrusted to you. Love for the man you are becoming. The age of infinite temptation is not going away, but the age of quiet men who govern themselves can rise again, one house at a time. Take the next step today. Check the 30-Day Discipline Rebuild in the description. Choose your first boundary and begin. Your future self and the people who will depend on you will be grateful that you did. And go be legendary.